Hello everybody and welcome back to the Atari Guy. And in today's episode, we're out of the Atari Guy, the regular studio, and we're here in my room where I have this Mac. And so what we're going to be doing with this Mac is, this is a slow first of all, Open Core Legacy Patcher, we're going to ignore this. This is a 20-inch early 2008 Intel Core 2 Duo iMac. So this is currently, I have the Open Core Patcher, that was the thing here. And so currently it's running the latest version of Mac OS, which is Mac OS Sequoia 15.1.1, although it's probably been updated. I haven't updated this thing. This thing, luckily enough, only has 4 gigabytes of RAM, so, but this thing has a SSD in here, and when I got this thing, this is the one from VCF Midwest. This thing had on here, ignore the TV back there, this thing had on here, Mac OS, Mojave, so this thing already had a patcher, so I ended up installing Open Core Patcher. And so there's a couple of problems with this thing. It's slow. I can't run iMovie on here, which was one of the things I wanted to do. So what we're going to be doing today is we're kind of going to do a Windows upgrade series. We're going to start with Windows Vista, and we're going to go until 8.1 or 10. I have Windows Vista installing on my laptop, the ISO installing on my laptop. And then after that, I'm going to go to 7, and then we're going to go to 8, and then we're going to go to 8.1, and then we're going to go to 10. So this is going to be a long video, although I do plan on editing this thing and making it a little faster, but I do want to just give, my introduction, tell you a little bit about this thing. So this thing currently has Open Core Legacy Patcher on here, so it's no longer going to have that on there, so we're going to go from this to Vista. So we're going to shut this thing down and boot from the Mac OS. But yeah, this thing has a 250 gigabyte SSD, which is pretty good for this. I don't plan on doing much on this laptop. This is just a laptop for me to do writing work and different things. So the other computer in the basement, in the studio, is where I do most of my editing, which there will be a new video. And I'd like to apologize for the fact that it's been a while since we had a new video, but there will be a new video coming out soon. Today I am expecting 2 new things for the computer, the studio down there, which we're going to do some upgrades on the computers down there. So, I'm going to wait for that to install, and then I gotta use Rufus to build a bootable USB. So, we'll be back, and we will be installing, and I gotta also get the product key, because I have a Vista product key. So that's why this is going to be an upgrade saga, because I have a Vista key, so then I don't have to buy a 7 or 10 key. So we're going to take a look at that in just a minute. And also, while we're here, let's see, does this thing have Boot Camp Assistant on here? So that way we can get, here it is, Boot Camp Assistant. So I do have this USB stick. This is going to be the one we use. This thing probably has like Windows 7 on here. Let's see. First of all, let's see what's on there, and then we'll decide what version of Windows we want to run. This thing probably has assistance for running Windows 11. Yeah, this looks like it is Windows. This might be Windows. Create a Windows 10 or later install disk. Install Windows 10 or later version. Let's do the download the latest Windows support software from Apple. I will be using this flash drive to install Windows Vista using Rufus. So, no USB drive. Let's connect this one, and let's make sure there's nothing important on here, because I think this disk has some files on here, but they're from a long time ago, so I'm fine deleting them. USB drive, please connect to USB drive, which we did. If you create a window, let's just hope that it'll work with Vista. It should. If not, then we'll just have to install like macOS, an older version of macOS, or find the drivers ourselves. Alright, so that took, I can't... Alright, so by the way, the TV is on in the background. If you can see, I had it unmuted for a minute while I was waiting for this thing to go off because it had, well, doesn't matter. But it finished doing it. I've got Windows Vista and all those installing. My camera's like about to die, so I'd move it over to show you, but I don't want to turn off this camera and have it not show up. But anyways, the Windows support software is done, and Windows is ISOs are installing. Okay, so as you can see, we have Windows Vista right here, 64-bit installer, and now we will just restart, and we'll hold down the command key as this thing is turning off. By the way, TV's still on. I've got Spotify on it now. So... Alright. And I've got the other ISOs installing. Currently, the only one downloading is Windows 7. I had one downloading, but it ended up not working out well, so I had to get another one, and so that's the one downloading right now. Alright, there we go, holding down the command key. I think I'm holding down the wrong key. Option key. There we go. Alright. Let's hope it shows up. I'll give it a minute or so to... Yeah, I had a feeling that it's not gonna work because now YouTube is on. Every time something new is gonna... I'm kidding. Not every time. So, we just gotta kinda power this thing off. Or not. Whoa. I'll just turn off the power strip down here. Ooh. Whoa. It logged me out of my laptop. Alright. Now I just gotta kind of turn it on. Come on. I want you to see the screen, not that screen. Oh, there we go. That's all it took. I needed to format it in GPT rather than UEFI. Or GPT rather than MBR. Okay, so something's not right. I don't know what's going on. Future me is gonna have a fun time editing this one. Let's try it one more time. Okie dokie. Double click. Mouse cursor not moving, as you can see here. I'm moving it down here on my mouse pad. Nothing's moving. The fans are spinning. The LED on the USB is not blinking at all. That's a great sign. I unplugged it just to see what happens. And nothing. Yeah, this is odd. Okay, I wasn't kidding. There is something different on the TV now since the last clip. That was only a joke. I wasn't serious, but I guess I was. Alright. So, I made another bootable one, same GPT, grand partition table, UEFI system, but I did NTFS this time instead of FAT32. Which seems to have done nothing because, yet again, it's not blinking. So, this time, I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm going to let it sit for, give or take, 20 minutes. And we'll see if something changes. Alright, so update. I left it on for about half an hour. Nothing happened. But I do have a Windows Vista CD that I can attempt to use, and I did. I tried it off camera. It's a little scratched, so we might have an error, but it could be an issue with the ISO, could be an issue with the flash drive, something like that. So let's try just the CD, and I don't know if I actually want to use the CD to install Windows, because it's a 32-bit install of Windows rather than 64-bit, and all the other ISOs I have are 64-bit. But just to prove that it can work, that there's just an issue with the USB stick or with my ISO, okay, so it worked before. I'm not trying to kid you or anything. I do know it worked. Let's eject the DVD. So here's the DVD. You can't see it, but it's a Dell OEM disc. Let's try one last time. And just for... because it worked last time, I know it worked. Alright, let's try this one more time. Because as you see, it went to the black screen and it went to the cursor in there. Last time it actually got to the Windows is loading files, and I shut it down because obviously I wanted to do it on camera. So here we go, we got the blinking cursor again. Alright, so you should have kind of been expecting this. This is going to be a multi-part episode. But what I have now is I have this USB with the Vista ISO on it. No, the Vista ISO isn't burned to it, but it is on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the built-in... Actually, let's see. Will this boot from the USB stick for me? I have Windows Vista burnt onto this USB, so let's see if this will boot. I've been experimenting off camera for a good while now, and none of it's been working. And it's not going to change now. So, actually, I think this has Windows 8 on it. Yeah, because I was experimenting with different things. So, let's turn this on, and what we're going to do is we're going to run Windows, or we're going to run the Mac stuff, and we're going to run, using Boot Camp Assistant, we're going to try and boot Windows Vista onto the one of my USB sticks. Okay. This thing's really slow, which is kind of the reason I wanted to install Windows on here, because I have a feeling once we get Boot Camp Assistant to work, it's going to complain about the fact that this ISO is Windows Vista rather than Windows 10. So we're just gonna have to see about that. But it's being really slow, which is why I wanted to put this thing on Windows, because okay, so as you might have saw earlier in this video, all of a sudden it just like changes to this pardon me, having trouble with the TV back there. But anyways, it kind of just like starts in on this black screen, and it'll eventually turn into this, it'll eventually have the background on there, and everything will kind of work better. But this computer is just so slow. Honestly, there's not much you can do on this thing. So, well, you can, and I've done things, but it's just practically unusable. So, we're gonna try and do this. Okay, so we've moved along at least a little. For those of you watching, oh, here we go. Create a Windows 10 or later install disk, you need a flash drive, and Windows 10 or later ISO image downloaded from Microsoft. Let's see if it'll work with my Vista, and we will not install it, and it will just do that anyway. So let's continue. Let's just see what happens. Also, by the way, okay, then erase the disk. No, this is the disk we want. This is the destination disk. To create a bootable, oh, so choose a Windows 10 ISO image. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this. But anyways, let's go to this is the one. It's having trouble because it's not showing up, and it was plugged into the keyboard. So let's see if plugging it into the back of this computer. There we go. All right, Windows Vista ISO, open it up, and then we're going to install this to the Win 8 with updates disk 3. Continue. Boot Camp Assistant, do you want to make changes? I would. Okay, mounting and verifying the Windows 10 ISO. Need 64-bit Windows 10 or later. I had a feeling this is exactly what was going to happen. Boot Camp only supports 64-bit Windows 10 or later installation on this platform. Please use an ISO file for 64-bit Windows 10 or later. We don't want to go straight to Windows 10 though, because that would mean using a Windows 10 key. So let's see if we go to this Windows Vista flash drive, and we go to the N English Windows 7 Windows Vista, and we go to open with, move to trash. Let's open up disk utility. And then we'll take this Windows 8 with whatever updates, yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to restore from this, and we'll, oh no wait, we want to image it. Using this Windows Vis, and then using this ISO. And so now we'll restore it. process failed successfully. Operation just failed. Alright, let's try to restore it, but we'll do it from the disk. And the process failed successfully. Okay, how about, honestly, I don't know. I don't know much about Macs. And yes, I have tried three different Windows Vista ISOs, 2 different USB sticks, all using Rufus, because there's no other program that will make bootable Windows drives. At least I couldn't find anyone, and the ones I could were built for Mac, and the one that I could for Windows wouldn't build the Windows USB, so I'm kind of stuck now because I have no idea what works.